And so a lot of business owners that I know tend to be parents, and they're juggling multiple things at once, and they're trying to keep the overhead of their business going. So as I'm like, oh my gosh, so in like literally 3 days, made a new video, created a 3-page funnel, got it up and running, and now I'm stuck.
If you're like me, you've always had a desire to do more. And deep inside, you've known there's a way and a possibility for you to achieve your dreams, the lifestyle, and achieve the freedom you've always wanted. Because we have what it takes to get things done and learn from others and get the mindset to achieve the dreams we've always wanted.
Welcome to SB Warriors. Talking about one of the most important things that we need to do to move our business forward. And I kind of got this from Kenny Can. I listened to a lot of different information to help myself ascend to newer levels and to grow more. And one of the things we were talking about or listening to was high ticket sales process. And I think that no matter what industry that you're in, that there is a monetary value for something in exchange, you're in some sort of sales process. And regardless of how you feel about that, we can go back and forth on it, but I believe that everybody is in sales, whether it's a relationship, whether it's in a discussion with your kids, that there is a sale going on, that somebody is, unfortunately, to make it sound like a win and a lose, but somebody is walking away with either like, oh, I didn't know that, oh, I'm thinking about that, or you're like, I'm not going to do that, and you're just going to go different ways. But typically what happens is we look at somebody who has a certain level of expertise and we go, oh, I didn't think about it this way. And you kind of consider it. And I'm not talking about what's going on in the country right now. I'm just talking about pure business, marketing, and what I'm noticing. And so when I heard this question from Kenny, and posing to other business owners, like, what's the one thing you need to move the needle? And in that case, it makes you pause and think, like, what's the most important thing you need to do right now to make your business more successful? And if you can't answer that, that means you're probably spread out too thin and you don't have a clear focus. And because I had to pause and go, oh, and then I started, as I'm trying to get approval for a domain due to a previous client that I stopped working with. And then we're like, I need some clients. They needed their domain. I needed to create a domain to do their funnels to. And so I just like to create a domain, separate it, and then start. But the problem is they didn't have any of the assets that I typically like to have in the digital space. So when I say asset, think about it, anything that, whether it's a website, whether it's a channel, social media, could be Twitter, could be LinkedIn, could be YouTube, could be Facebook. Those are different assets in places where you put information. So when I saw that this company didn't have any, and initially I tried to set them up with it, because what had happened in this case, this client had purchased a existing location from somebody who I used to work with. And so I had everything down. I had the website down. I had the email. I had the all the pixels. I had everything that I wanted to be able to remarket, target, and get their ads up and going. YouTube videos, you name it. I had them across multiple platforms. And so when the owner sold it, he was like, okay, hey, you put all this together and you didn't charge me for it. Thank you for that, because I was trying to help him out. I was doing him a favor, and he in return, we kind of did an exchange, and it ended up being kind of like an unverified exchange, basically, because it was in the automotive niche. It was awesome, because that's why I love one of the people. I love people who help other people. And the automotive niche is awesome, because I personally drive a 10-year-old car, but it's a higher end car, but it's older. So I like it and I want to take care of it. So I'm not trying to be fancy, and I don't need the newest sports car. I just need room for my kids. It drives good. That's all I care about. So when I had the opportunity to work with this business owner, I was like, great. I was like, let's do it. And I just wanted to see him succeed. Because I wasn't in a point where you're like, oh my gosh, I need this business. I need this money. And so I just like, you don't have anything. You didn't have a website. You didn't have a social media. You didn't have any presence whatsoever across any platform. You didn't have a Google My Business and all these things. Like, right. So if you don't know what these are and you want to know, you can just send me a message. Hey, I didn't understand some of the things you're saying. But hopefully it's just basically kind of having all your assets in place so that people can find you a lot easier. And a lot of business owners are familiar with Yelp. So if you're like, hey, imagine not having a Yelp for your business. And especially if you are in the B2C and you don't have a Yelp, then you're like, oh my gosh, like, what are you thinking? Like, your restaurant needs a Yelp. Your plumbing business needs a Yelp. But you'd probably, if you didn't have one, you'd be like, oh, well, you're so busy, or you just don't know. It's okay. You just don't know. So when I'm listening to Kenny and his one thing, and I started thinking, and recently my VA decided to continue his college education after just graduating, and he just got his bachelor's degree. I was like, yes. We worked together for, I think it was almost 2 years. Time flies. And we were working together. I was helping him learn how to, create the landing pages, helping him, how to do video better to help alleviate some of the stress for me. And so in turn, I demanded less from him than I would for somebody who I was paying more. But in turn, I was like, okay, I'm training this person to be my protege so that I can remove myself from the business and I can make him a manager once he's done with school. But what I didn't know is that he had plans to go to a higher level education and get a master's program. And I was like, what the flip? And he's like, I can work with you. I just need to get more money. I'm like, okay, let's make it happen. But then he just became MIA. And I get it. School's harder than, you got to juggle multiple things. And so unfortunately, like, I built this relationship with this person, my VA, and somebody I started, becoming friends with, but now they had other obligations. So now all of a sudden, the thing that I needed most in my business is somebody to replace him, which is somebody to replace me, because there's a certain level of execution I'm comfortable with. But today, I'm trying to re-verify a domain through G Suite, which basically means I'm trying to set it up so that I can have access to allow my client to have a domain, and I can get email connected. It's like $6 a month, and it's to make the business look more, just put together, authentic together. Because I personally feel a little leery when I see a business owner has a mybusiness@gmail.com. I was like, you couldn't do the URL too. And I think the lot problem is because it's a pain in the butt. And so Google changed their way. Like, I used to be able to stick a pixel on the website and go, but now you have to go into the, I'm nerding out a little bit, so just bear with me for like 30 seconds. So you actually have to go into the records of your domain. So where you buy your name of your domain, which basically means your website URL, so yourname.com, you have to go in there and change it. Well, when Google changed the G Suite thing to only 2 ways of doing it now, where I used to take the pixel, throw it on there real quick, and just get verified. It was fast. Now the change in the record in the management section, it's harder. It takes longer. So literally all day I've been trying to verify this domain because they didn't have a YouTube channel. So now I got to create a YouTube channel. And the only reason I'm doing this is for SEO purposes, which stands for search engine optimization, meaning they have nothing in that platform either. So people I'm looking for a mechanic in my city. They don't have that set up either. And I'm going, why not? And I'm really believing there's 2 problems that people have. And one is either so much going on that they don't have the bandwidth to take it on. Not that they don't have the aptitude to learn it and do it. They just don't have the bandwidth. And so a lot of business owners that I know tend to be parents, and they're juggling multiple things at once, and they're trying to keep the overhead of their business going. So as I'm like, oh my gosh, so in like literally 3 days, made a new video, created a 3-page funnel, got it up and running, and now I'm stuck because I'm waiting for to create I could run the ad off of a different YouTube channel, but I didn't want to do it because it looks a little weird and inauthentic. So I'm like, okay, now I'm waiting for this. Boom, waiting for that. And what a pain in the butt. And I actually forgot, because I had done so much for this particular owner, I forgot how much I'd actually have to do. And I'm actually going, I think I totally undercharged. And you realize how much time it takes to do all these things. And we set up a different agreement where I was charging per lead. But if we just stopped here, I'm actually at the loss. So where I put so much time in to create this assets and to put it in play, right now, I'd be the one at the loss. And the business owner, they don't think that because they don't understand the value. So what I realized today, and after listening to a little bit of Kenny, is like, the one thing I would need in my business is somebody who I can delegate tasks to. And if you're like me, and I'm gonna try to find that person again. I thought I had him trained, and like getting to a place where I felt comfortable, like where like has 10,000 passwords, and we could talk about stuff, and it was nice. It's like, so I'm realizing like, hey, I either need to partner up or I need to delegate. And I'm really not a big fan yet of using white label options because I just don't know the quality of the output. And so what that means, for those of you who don't know, white label options is kind of like, you ever go to, say, buy a ketchup or a particular bread or maybe some ice cream, and you notice there's a brand label and there's a generic label. Well, if you go to Costco, you will notice that there's a, say, cranberry juice. Has the same people that probably make Ocean Spray also, I'm guessing here, don't quote me or send me a bad email. But it's like you can find an off-brand that makes the same quality from the same manufacturer. And so basically, white label in the digital space is somebody who's like, hey, I'll just do all this stuff behind the scenes, and you just need to get the clients and we'll fulfill, because they like the fulfillment part and they have a system set up. And part of me is like, wow, that sounds great. But then the other part of me is like, oh man, what about the obligation to actually make sure I'm delivering what I promise? And so I balance that. And if you're like me, I think we all need to figure out what's the one thing we need to do to move the needle and get our business to grow. Apologize for the train that incessantly honking behind us. We live about 2 miles from the train, but I can hear it from here. I don't know why. Anyway, what is the one thing that you need for your business to move the needle? Ask yourself that question. If you don't know right now, it's fine. And pulled up some articles. So the biggest thing is having a strategy and a plan to do what, though? Usually it's to get customers. And that's why I love marketing. That's why I love talking about marketing, is because there's a science and an artistic side, which is perfect for me, because when I used to do commercials in front of the camera, I was interested in everything going on in the space, from the person who was coming up with the ad copy, to the person who was the director, to the person who was having the producer on the set and all that stuff. I actually became more interested in what they were doing than what I was doing in front of the camera, because to me, I was like, I'm just being me. But what they were doing was cooler, because they had it created this unique product that either sucked or did really good. And that's why I love, because having a science background, if you listened to me before, I have a little bit of a science background, but I also had to dive into some of the artistic side in order to do anything in front of the camera. And it sounds a little weird to say that, but so many people are afraid of this camera that you have to dive in to experience that. So I've gotten through that hump. And if there are a lot of people who are like, hey, I'm having a hard time getting through the hump of feeling comfortable in front of the camera, let me know, because maybe I need to put together some training for that. And I'm not sure what your needs are. But for me, right now, I say I need to duplicate and delegate together as the one thing, because I know that so many small business owners' success depends on finding out that marketing system to create their business in a continuum, so where they can grow, but they don't have some of the basic elements that I see in the digital space, nor a plan on how to get there. All right, so maybe I'll cover that plan next time. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or just send me a DM. I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Small Business Warriors, and I'll catch you guys next time. Keep pushing. So I post a lot on my entrepreneur journey, mindset, interviewing top coaches, entrepreneur business owners, you name it. I try to work my best to help you guys see the greatest content that's going to help elevate your game and grow your business. Now, one of the things we did is we created a tool, a software tool that's cost us literally thousands of dollars and almost 2 years to create. With this tool, we are giving away a lifetime license, and it's very important that you guys, when you hear what I'm saying, that we build and grow and engage our list. You control the list. You have the ability to do the Oprah effect. So with that, you guys visit sbwarriors.com/my-resources. You have access to get a lifetime license for absolutely free. And you can see some of the other tools we use, which is very important in maintaining and growing your business. Get started. Have a great day. We appreciate you guys, and keep pushing. Push to grow, to get help to keep growing your business for this year and many years to come. I'm pushing for you guys. Have a great one, and we'll see you next time.